just gives an argument in natural language, right?
Not necessarily. All else equal, yes.
Well,
but other stuff can change that.
Okay. All else equal, yeah. Okay, great. So it would be the case that if these lower elo people learn prop logic, that they would shoot up to a significant degree, that would improve their argumentation by not only conveying their point more clearly.
Where'd you get significant degree from? I never agreed to that.
Again, I'm just saying like a tier or two. And when I mean by that, I'm specifically
if you're having a convo, if you want to convince me on that, you should probably say something substantial.
Look, I'm specifically referencing the people who otherwise don't know prop logic. It's like if you were to take, for example, if you were to take again Jester, teach him prop logic, and then put him against like Tensei, who has no idea anything like regarding prop logic. All else equal, it would be expected that Jester would have more of an edge. Like, way more of a fucking edge. Like, it wouldn't even be close, because not only now can he press Tensei into giving a formal argument, and then determining whether it's valid or not, he can now formulate his own formal arguments and convey himself better to an audience. Without, like, while avoiding all the natural language bullshit that most of the audience
make him way better. I think it would only make him way better if he was trying to be a theologian about it, and then you kept asking questions that don't need to be asked. Unnecessary questions. Tensei would probably be able to deliver some coherent, logically valid argument. He doesn't need to give like some fucking premise by premise arguments in a syllogism, which nobody is doing in these debates, pretty much.
My teammate isn't real, bro. There's no way you just.
When you say no one's doing in these debates, are you referencing your experience?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's just trivial. Like no.
You're referencing your experiences too, so yeah.
Yeah, but the distinction there is like you hang around like retards.
I watched debates from Good Debaters. I'm talking about. We literally have access to the same recordings.
Yeah, dude, you think Gizbob is a good debater?
This is gonna cycle back to the entire fucking point. You're just gonna be like, okay, I have this belief, so automatically I'm right, you're wrong. Gizbob's not a good debater because I don't think he knows too much about prop logic. The fuck? Let's say Gizbob read Demon Slayer, and you didn't ask him for some fucking inference rules, some syllogism, nothing. He's just gonna beat the shit out of you on pure reasoning.
So retarded.
Pure reasoning.
Right.
Why the fuck? Why is this guy in fucking Greenland? Where did you go?
If Gizbob and I did debate Demon Slayer, and if I were to press Gizbob into giving a formal argument, or asked him to prove the validity of the argument, do you think he's winning? Like, do you think he's able to do that?
I think he's winning, yeah, absolutely. I think he knows how to do that.
Okay, whether you think he knows how to do that or not, whatever. Do you think that if he didn't know how to do that, that he would win?
No. But that would be because of some stupid shit.
That's like super
that would just be because you would be being.
So if he doesn't know... So, wait, okay, let me just be clear there. So someone that knows prop logic doesn't have to know anything about the thing that they're talking about, so long as they know prop logic. And if they're asked their opponent who doesn't know prop logic to formalize the argument, and if their opponent doesn't know how to formalize the argument, then they're not winning. It sounds like that's what you just agreed to.
Cool.
Okay, great. So someone that doesn't... Okay, so in tier 3 or lower, if you don't know prop logic and you learn prop logic, you're shooting up above everyone.
What?
Just off of that method. That's my whole point.
So you didn't address the point earlier about I didn't agree to the massive stuff. You didn't address the point about how most people aren't going to be doing that. Like, really, bro? Are you serious?
Silver 3 off of that.
Someone's reasoning capabilities over their ability to just give you some.
Yeah, obviously, but this is like so.
Logically valid argument for a fucking like syllogism.
Well, no, I would also care. I would also care if the argument's valid. Obviously, that's like.
Don't you think most people are going to be giving logically valid arguments off of intuition?
No, it would be. It's really. You would be shocked to see how many of you fucking retards don't actually give valid arguments.
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like a syllogism. I'm talking about just natural language.
Yeah, like in natural language, like you would have no idea. Like if someone were to give me an argument in natural language, and if I were to formalize it and ask him, hey, is this the argument you're signing off on? 90% of the time I've done that, it's been invalid. I'm not even kidding.
To be fair, when you say like good debaters do it in their head, that's them being generous, right? Because when someone gives a natural language argument, it's not clear what technical they're using or anything.
Well, I would encourage them to do it in their head. All else, like even if they don't know, like if let's say your opponent doesn't know prop logic and they're giving an argument in natural language, Yeah, if like if you really care about their argument being valid or not, you would want to do it in your head. Yeah. But most of the time,
Yeah,
when
but-
people
yeah,
do
but
that,
even-
it is invalid.
Right, but that's the problem. Like, you're the one making that argument valid by applying like the best inference rule you think you can. It could be the case that I give you some natural language argument and you think I'm using like modus tollens, which would make it valid, but I was actually using like some retarded ass argument that just begs the question 78 times or some shit like that.
That's not how I formalize it. Like I'll take the claims they're making, like, because you know how like natural language arguments usually have like a bunch of gibberish in them, like it's like some substance, some gibberish. So you just take out like the claims that they're making, you represent them as propositions or premises, and then you fill it out. If there's conditional statements or whatever the fuck by conditional, you know, whatever, you just fill it out and then make the conclusion, like the proposition they're trying to get to, and you just say like, hey, you sign off on this. You don't like insert, you wouldn't insert like inference rules for them.
Wait, what do you mean like? So you're saying you would formalize it in your head and you would like offer it to them and ask if they agree with it. But like when you say you would formalize it, you are saying like, you know, P1, P2, whatever other premises, conclusion, so like a clear inference rule and asking
Yeah,
if they
so,
agree
like,
with it, right?
Yeah, so like let's say like someone says, P1Q, P2,
Dude, this guy making
if
it
T
so
then
fucking
R,
funny.
conclusion, Z. Like, okay, obviously they're affirming something in P1, and then they're giving like a conditional statement in
This
P2.
guy's so fucking funny.
But like obviously it's like not, the argument's just like not gonna be valid.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
okay,
like
so
that's
like
most of the time when natural language arguments. That's how they end up most of the time.
yeah, like when someone says something like, oh, you know, like because of this other thing probably isn't true, you might think of it as like some like modus ponens, like, oh, if P then Q, and Q would be like, you know, X is improbable or whatever, P therefore Q is improbable or whatever, and you might ask it to them, but they might have like some retarded
Well, if
idea,
they're-
right? It might not actually be what they formalize in their head.
Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't. That's what you're. I said this earlier. Look, you don't insert like the inference. What was the original thing that you said? Like the statement that they said, like this thing is more probable than this thing.
No. You imagine it's like, oh, if this, like, oh, because of this other thing is probably not true.
Yeah, I would just represent that as P.
Shouldn't have done that yet.
What? No,
yeah,
hold on.
I would just
Basically-
probably represent that as P. That's what it sounds like. Or maybe like a conditional statement.
Okay, so answer like, you know, Trump is racist, so it probably isn't like a good president. Obviously, the
Okay,
way
so
that I
P-
assume you would do it is that you would assume P1 would be like, if someone is racist, they probably aren't a good president. P2, Trump is racist. Conclusion, Trump probably isn't a good president, right?
that could be an option, but that's not the way I do it. So the way I do it is, well, I would say like Trump is a good president. That would be like P1, and then you.
No headphones. Let's go.
Some like 8 premise argument, which happens a lot in PNR, believe it or not. In like natural language, and then you have to formalize all of that.
Not as much in politics, but even there. But I think like your conversation is mostly about like these fiction debaters that don't know what to do with it and stuff, right? But also like arguments in fiction, they're mostly simple. It's like, oh, if X person is faster and stronger, they would likely to like win in a hypothetical battle or whatever. They are faster and stronger, therefore they are likely to win a hypothetical battle.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, in that case, I formalize it for them.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't ask them to formalize it, right? So it wouldn't
Well, my
matter if they
teammates
know how
will.
to formalize it.
I only ask for a formal argument. Well, I ask for formal arguments. all the
Why
time,
are you-
But
why
I
are you-
mostly get pressed into asking them for formal
Lex
arguments
is
before going off
tripping.
on irrelevant tangents. Which the reason why you ask me, like you see me asking for formal arguments in regards to the fiction people so much is because most of the time all they do is go on irrelevant tangents. Like fiction, I don't know, like if you guys experience the same thing, but like fiction debating is like way easier to get lost in and like is way more incoherent than like IRL debating to me, because they just jump between like 16 different points, and so it never usually stays on topic.
I don't know. I don't debate fiction that much. I was just like saying this because it was for two things. One was just like most of these people's arguments. If you're generous, right? If you don't just spam like formalize it like on some turn shit, like formalize it. You might actually get some like high like what you call high yield low substance out of this, because you just formalize it for them, and they might actually offer you like some good reasons to believe in this like argument that you formalized for them or whatever. But the second one is just that I haven't even really seen people like Destiny, for example,
Well, even
doing this method of like offering them the argument and say, do you sign off on this, whatever.
Destiny doesn't do that. Like if you like hang with like Eric or like Mustafa or like Mason, they'll do that. Like Destiny, the only reason I don't think Destiny does is because he's streaming in front of like 20k people. Like he doesn't want to come off as like egotistical or something. Like here's the problem with this though is like I feel like this helps me more because like even like again take Jester, if you say that Jester's charitable and like formalizing his opponent's arguments, when you formalize an argument it gets rid of all the nonsense. So like if he knows how to formalize an argument, ask his opponent to do that, and like let's say he's being good faith and he's not being competitive so he doesn't just win right then and there, he formalizes the argument. Now he's gonna actually know what premises the person either accepts or rejects, and they're gonna give substance in regards to the premises, and it's not gonna go off into some random nonsense where they jump.
Why is this fucker spamming that?
Which gives him a better chance of winning. Whereas like now there's less chances he has like lose track of what his opponent's saying, because again they're not gonna be jumping through 16 different points.
Well, I agree that Eric and like Mason, those people, do that a lot, but that's their like trademark. Like they're not good faith when it comes to this. They will just ask you, even if they think the argument might actually be valid.
They'll formalize the arguments for you.
I mean, out of most requests I've seen from Eric, he doesn't really formalize it before you. He just asks you for formalize it. He asks you for P1.
If he's on his Evil Destiny account, yeah, I know he doesn't do that. But like, if he's on his other account, yeah, he'll do that. Like Mustafa will do that too. I don't know if Mason does that. Like, I think Mason debates in good faith most of the time actually, but like, like people like piss him off really easy.
No, yeah, that's actually true. I said Mason because I'm not really focusing. Mason doesn't.
Teammates doing.
But from what I've seen, Mason doesn't usually ask for it. From what I've seen, but yeah, but like people like Eric, I mean, they troll with it, right? It's like, yeah, well, what do you want? No, but yeah, like, I mean, if you say like it would avoid them jumping all around, whatever, would you say that like this is something that like every, well, not every, would you say this is something that like you think Gizbob does? Because I think that's what Haram is most interested in.
Yeah, Gizbob doesn't formalize arguments.
No, not
Yes.
like the formalizing argument. Like, do you think that like on his, when he gives his natural language arguments, do you think like he does that thing of jumping all over the place and like adding stuff and stuff?
Well, it wasn't. It doesn't matter if he's jumping. Well, I guess you can say it does, but I don't actually know. I've only seen a few Gizbob Rex. All I know is that he doesn't know really anything at all about logic, and I was mostly referring to it in the competitive sense. Like if you were to take like all the like competitive shit and like just a new prop logic and were to ask Gizbob to formalize the argument, like pressed him on it, it would make Gizbob look like really bad and he would probably lose. If he didn't want to formalize it himself. Even if he's being good faith though, in order to avoid jumping, like, yeah, but like I don't think that's relevant to my original point. My original point is that if you know prop logic, then you're gonna be significantly better in comparison to people that don't know prop logic, and that just seems like really fucking trivial.
Yeah, but the reason why I try to specify it for like Gizbob is because Haram might actually not have like interest in disagreeing with that if you don't apply it to Gizbob. His position might be like rooted in thinking that Gizbob, like is a better debater than some other people, even though he doesn't know how to formalize his arguments or whatever.
Well, again, the whole reason I brought up Gizbob is because like if someone's debating in like a competitive sense and they don't care to formalize their argument for them, they'll just win, like outright, because Gizbob's not gonna know any better. And that's all I was saying there.
Well,
I was
then,
mostly
like,
just referring to
not-
the competitive sense.
well, then I wouldn't be clear on what you think like. What does it mean like to be competitive on it? What do you think? What do you mean when it's like winning a debate? What is that?
Either fulfilling or getting to a conclusion that you want to, or negating your opponent's conclusion that they're trying to get to. So like obviously if like you press someone on their argument's validity and it turns out the argument's invalid, then that's just gonna negate them trying to get to their conclusion or hold it or whatever. And
Wait, is
It's just
reaching the
funny, like-
conclusion that you aim? So it's like, if I'm just on a negative or something, like if my position is like, you can prove that moral facts exist, and I just spend the whole debate being like, I don't grant P2, give me a formalized argument for it. I don't grant the P3 for that argument for P2, give me a formalized argument. I don't grant that argument, give me another formalized argument for that argument. And it's like 2 hours of me doing this, and the person has to leave. I would win the debate because ultimately, like, they failed to justify their position, like what my position was, right?
yeah, presumably under this context, but if someone, like, there's other things that you can consider in regards to, like, someone winning a debate. Like, obviously, like, if there's an audience present, like, I would also take the audience into consideration. So, like, if they're just saying, like, prove this or prove that, and it's, like, really trivial stuff, then they just look bad into the audience. The whole point of this whole formalization shit is, like, if you take someone like Jester, who has like really aggressive rhetoric, and you like just give him like prop logic knowledge, and he presses Gizbob, and Gizbob's not able to like, formalize the argument. Not only does he like look good to the audience, like he's not doing anything necessarily wrong, because the audiences for some reason love that type of shit. He's also halting his opponent from reaching a conclusion that they want to get to. But like, I think I would value the audience's opinion more in regards to like that. Ultimately, I think that's who determines like who's the debater. It's like if they're just saying like prove that on like really trivial shit, like what's the argument for that on trivial shit, and like the audience is like obviously gonna tell at that point he's being disingenuous. Whereas like asking for a formal argument is not really considered disingenuous.
Well, the thing is, I don't like this. Why I don't like the distinctions like competitive debate and non-competitive debate, because it's like, let's say I go debate Apollo in his server, and he does that to me. Obviously, he wins also on the eyes of the audience because the audience is like, I don't want to say groomed, but they're like predisposed to think anything he's saying is like correct or whatever. So I lose like on the eyes of the audience, and that's the method by which he convinces the audience. Then you'd say like he beat me.
Yeah, that's gonna be contingent upon like who you actually care about. Like I said, like I care about the audience, but to be more specific, the audience is only gonna be in reference to people I specifically care about. It's like if you don't care about anyone in the audience, then it's just like whatever. Like if you had a recording and like showed people the recording, like, and the audience that you're showing the recording to are people that you care about, then you can take that into consideration. But ultimately, that's all subjective and dependent on who you care about. So it's like.
Finally, a team that is not full of knuckle-dragging retards. Holy fuck.
Bro, isn't BB? Oh, like, not BB.
You're one of those, Lexus.
Biro like streaming. You can get the guy banned if you can.
It's fine. I mean,
It's YouTube streaming, so...
nobody cares. Yeah.
What do you use
Oh,
your
no, it's
YouTube
fine.
channel?
Official _Scousir.
What?
Official underscore Calazir. It's just my username with official behind it.
And my team
But,
decided to all rush B. Let's go.
Wait, so it's like by audience you didn't mean just like, you know, any agent that is like watching the debate or whatever. You'd say like the audience that is like a very specific amount of people that for some reason you care about their opinion or whatever on
Yeah.
who won. That's what you mean by audience?
Sure.
Okay, so okay, and I assume like the people you care about are going to be because like you take them to like reliable sources.
Can be for whatever reason you want it to be. It's all in your subjective, really. Like,
Yeah, but
if
I'm
you're gonna say
asking
like,
yours.
if you're gonna say like, me like yeah like for example, most of the people I talk to, are like undergrads or like have degrees or like otherwise like really knowledgeable. Like yeah, I would consider them like reliable.
Dude,
Yeah.
what are my
I would
teammates
favor
doing?
their opinion.
Why are they sitting in spawn?
Over people
What are you
that, like,
doing?
are just
Well,
like sucking dick to
then-
someone on Discord.
Then, well, let's say this then. Let's say you think I won a debate really, really bad. And then like you send the recording to like I don't know who you think is like to someone you think is good, right? And they tell you they think I lost, but they don't really tell you why. They just tell you they think I lost. Would you now change your opinion to think I lost, even though all the reasons you're like aware of outside of that one opinion of the other guy lead to me winning?
I would take their opinion into consideration, probably rewatch directly. Like, yeah, I would probably like have my mind change. Like, it's like if a doctor comes up to you and like a Neanderthal comes up to you and is like, "Hey, this is bad for you. Don't eat this." And then Neanderthal is like, "Hey, this is good. Here's the reasons why this is good." Like, obviously you're gonna trust the doctor more, even though he doesn't tell you the reasons. In the same way, like how I would trust someone that's like against my opinion over someone that's like over my own opinion.
Oh, I don't see what's the point. Wait, so like, why watch the debate then? I don't understand. Why not just send it to someone you trust and to like tell me you won?
I don't
And
watch
then-
debates. I unironically don't watch
Oh,
debates.
what? Oh, you what? You just don't like you watch
Like-
a couple
like Rex?
Ubisoft
Like-
debates.
Yeah, I don't watch Rex. Sorry. Like I'll listen to a debate, but the only reason I listen to a debate is because like I'm bored and like usually with background music. It's not to like actually analyze like what they're saying most of the time. The only time I actually like care to analyze like what they're saying is if the topic's actually interesting. But like I can care to like analyze and like listen to stuff and like not give an opinion on who won.
Okay. But I mean, I just don't really like that view because I mean,
Who do you think?
what I think about like winning a debate, when I say X person won a debate, I just mean they've like given me more convincing reasons towards whatever proposition they're defending. Maybe, you know, maybe the reasons might also be dog shit, but they're more convincing than like either the refutation offered or the, you know, proposition, like the reasons to believe in the opposing proposition. That's usually what I mean when I say like
I can
this
grant
person won a
that if
debate.
like. Yeah, I can grant that. Well, this is why there's kind of like some distinctions here. So like I can grant that in regards to like if they're like having like some good faith conversation. Like if I was watching like Alex, this is Destiny, and like being good faith or whatever, I would adopt that view. But like if I were to send that to someone, that's like maybe more knowledgeable on that specific topic, and they would say like, hey, they disagree with me, and then tell me why, I'd probably just like if I really cared enough, like end up rewatching the rec and maybe reevaluating my opinion. I would probably I would might like. Yeah, I would be more inclined to reevaluate it.
But yeah, I
whereas, like,
think
the competitive distinction is like different.
I think then the discrepancy is like how much credence you lose. Because like I would like grant that obviously if there's like this really good debater and he disagrees with your opinion but doesn't tell you why, you might lose some credence. But I personally I wouldn't lose all the credence. I would just like instead of like imagine I say this person definitely won, and I know the reasons why, and then I send the recording to Eric and he says no, you're wrong, he didn't win. I wouldn't go from oh he won and I know why to oh well he actually didn't win and I know why, or like oh he actually didn't win and I still don't know why. What I would say is well I still think he won, but now it's more plausible that it might not have won.
like yeah, I can adopt that after like having a good conversation. But like in terms of like the competitive scene, it gets kind of weird because like for example like let's say someone like succeeds on filling the proposition, like I think that's a guaranteed win. But like if I were to
someone
send
what?
that to like
My
someone
bad, I missed the word.
if someone succeeds on their argument, like you know like delivers the argument like in success, and if I were to send that to Simp and they say oh they lost, I probably wouldn't care as much at all. Because if they think they lose for like rhetoric reasons, they could just have like a different, like they could like maybe be adopting your metric in that case, like
What the fuck?
and like maybe they might be incorporating some of their own knowledge into the topic that like wasn't talked about in the debate. So it's really contextual in regards to. There's a lot of rules with the competitive stuff. I will say that.
No, I mean, I guess I just don't make like distinctions between like competitive debates and like non-competitive. I guess we grant that there's like aggressive debates and non-aggressive debates, and like bad faith debates and good faith debates. But to me, they're all competitive.
I see. Well, my whole original point was just that if you know prop logic, again, then it would be expected that you would be better than everyone who is otherwise don't know or hasn't known prop logic. And for example, like let's just go back to the example I made. Like you use S1, you use press 1 to get a uniform argument, and then you can just like pass it off to like avoid the disingenuous shit, just like to keep it linear. And like most of the time, I think they would win, if not all the time. That's why I think like putting anime debaters above people that know about philosophy is like kind of dumb. Because like the second they get asked that question, 99% of the time they fold. And like this isn't like anything new. Like we witnessed this. Like Eric literally did it. Eric literally made an Evil Destiny account, ran through the comm. So did, and then Goons came along and did the same exact thing. Ran through the comm, doing that exact thing. Like I didn't hear everyone talking about like how disingenuous it was. I just heard everyone talking about how good they were. So it's like,
Oh well, I mean, everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone. Well, everyone is too extreme, but most people definitely grant it's like bad faith. That's why they say they're trolling or like just having dumb fun. Like obviously, they're not actually trying to have a good faith, like an actual good substantive conversation about your belief.
yeah.
When their first phrase is like, "What if we won?"
Well, just right. Well, it just seems like the anime community adopts that view, where like, if you don't, they adopt that like kind of like retarded view, which I thought was like really retarded. I still kind of think it is retarded. Where like, if you miss something that someone says, or like maybe don't respond like literally all the points that someone makes, or like don't do like maybe you get pressed on the formalization of the argument, like don't know anything, then you just like lose. And it's like, well, they what is that guy doing? What a bot.
You talking about the dude I'm playing against?
Huh?
You talking about the dude I'm playing against? Oh, I'm cooked here.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a dude right there.
Let's say, oh yeah. I was saying like, the anime community seemed to have adopted this thing where like, if you don't say X in a debate, you lose, or if like you don't respond like every point, you lose. If you can't formalize your argument, then you lose because you didn't respond. And the reason you lost is because you didn't respond to like all the whole prop logic stuff. And it's like, well, if the anime community is adopting that style, then it's just like, it seems like my tier list isn't even the reasons that I'm giving for all the anime people being low isn't even that crazy. Because like not only have like we literally seen this happen, it would also be expected that like if you
So
know
ass.
again, then you would be like better. Just utilizing the same tactic. That's why I go around telling people like, dude, if you like learn prop logic and you're in the anime community, you just shoot up 3 tiers instantly. Because you can just utilize the same tactic that Eric and Goons did. Now, if
Woo-hoo-hoo!
like if everyone like stopped valuing that metric of like who wins debates, which it seems like we're getting out of that era, thankfully, but like then it would change. But like as of right now, I don't see an issue with what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I guess like both of us think that metric is like dog shit, right?
What is dog shit?
The metric that's like If there's like a single point that you didn't respond to, you lose.
Oh yeah, I think that's
Or
what
at least
Fred
you
is.
lose that point. Yeah. Okay then. Well, okay then. Okay, so none of us would value that kind of like what is P1 thing, right?
I still take it into consideration.
Bro, single.
Or-
Tell me why this guy was so insistent to get bomb every round and then literally never fucking planted it.
I hate when people do that.
The
But-
only round where the bomb was planted was because he died, someone picked it up, and then they planted it. Holy fuck.
Listen, he's just so good. His tactics are like transcendent to your thought, man.
But, well, I still take prop logic into consideration, obviously. It'd be stupid to just, like, start denying prop logic and, like, letting people give me invalid arguments. I just don't, like, whenever I'm doing that, I'm, like, trolling most of the time on, like, my other account or something.
Well,
But even on this
I don't
account,
know.
if we're getting, like, really in-depth and stuff, like, yeah, I'm gonna ask for a formal argument just so things can be, like, clear.
The reason why I would value knowing basic logic is because they are less likely to give invalid arguments. But not because like the problem is the way you say it seems to also negatively affect the people that don't give invalid arguments. But they just aren't able to like prove that they aren't invalid or whatever, even though the arguments aren't invalid. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't think negatively of a person that has given me 10 arguments. All 10 arguments are valid. And the way I know all 10 arguments are valid is because like I generously
God damn it.
put it, like formalized it by myself, and they seem valid. I wouldn't say like this person is like a worse debater than me because they wouldn't be able to like put it on a specific format and prove they are valid.
Maybe we just have different metrics of considering like who's the worst debater or not. Like even if like
Oh.
we go out on the anime metric stuff, knowing how to formalize an argument definitely helps with rhetoric and argumentation. It helps with both
Well,
areas.
Oh, that guy is
I
just
think,
cheat
wouldn't
teaming.
you say,
What?
like, rhetoric is kind of like some type of like intersubjective thing, where like what is good rhetoric is gonna change depending on what the audience is watching.
I feel like anyone could be watching, and if someone is giving like a formal argument and the conversation progresses like extremely linearly, I feel like most people watching would value that over like some natural language argument that's like all over the place.
I think the average person that's like watching some like Twitch stream or like some Kick stream or some dude debating and screaming into his microphone, and like some dude pulls out the P1, P2, P3 conclusion, they might just laugh at it. Like if Haz is on the mic being like, "You're a pedophile, you're a pedophile, 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 you're a pedophile," and then someone is like, "What is P1? What is P1 for that?" Like I don't
But
think
yeah,
they would be
well, I
like,
mean that's a joke at that point, obviously. Yeah, that'd be funny. Well, I'm talking about like maybe like formal debates that are like set up ahead of time, and like the
The
topic.
Polish should start doing that.
like, okay, well, if it's those kind of debates, then I could probably agree because the audience that watches those kind of debates is a kind of specific audience.
Fuck! I'm trolling. I'm trolling.
Well, even if like let's say we had like ask yourself and you like live stream every day, because like you know how like ask yourself has that habit of like asking for formal arguments as well. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if he gains like that audience too, they're gonna like value that as well. So it's like I guess that's like dependent on the audience. But, like
Good placement.
even
Good
if people start
kills.
laughing at that, like is that not still like rhetorical?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be rhetorical in the sense that like,
Maybe not
it like
convincing
gives
them,
them some
but, like-
positive. Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't give them like some positive attitude towards the position they're defending or whatever. It would just be like funny. It just be
Yeah,
like
just-
give them some good moments. Yeah, but I think what we both mean by rhetoric is like conveying an argument in a way such that it makes the argument more convincing to whoever's listening. No?
This guy plays just like me
Yeah,
as
so-
well. There's no reason I should have lost to him.
Yeah, it's like
What?
I grant, you know, formal debates or whatever. Like if we're talking about some, I don't know, Majesty of Reason against Alex O'Connor debate, obviously gonna be valued because it's two philosophy channels that really like talking about logic and all those kind of things, and so are their audience. So they're gonna value that. But you know, if you're just like some guy debating about politics, and you and some dude tells you like, oh, Trump is a bad president, and you're like, oh yeah, give me the P1, P2, and a conclusion for that shit. I think the entire political panel would just like laugh at you.
Yeah, that probably doesn't work. Well, I think it needs to be contextual based on the topic too. Like, I don't think a lot of people are gonna care about that type of stuff in politics. Whereas, like, if you're talking about like theology, for example.
Right,
Period.
right, but well, I mean that's true, because the nature of like what's being debated and the audiences that come with it. But
Yeah, I mean, I grant that in regards
Again,
to
like-
politics, but like, if it's in regards to like metaphysics or theology or like anything really philosophical.
would
then it's
you
like-
grant that towards fiction?
Most of the time, fiction is like really brain dead easy. Yeah, I mean, I don't like. I don't think I. Dependent. Okay, like I said, that's contingent upon the audience, because like I don't think I would grant that towards fiction. Like I feel like if you span that premise one shit in fiction debates, it works.
It does.
Just based off of like how they like their metric. Like it unironically does.
I think it might work in this specific, like very modern, this one because of, as you mentioned, the Eric Goons wave.
People
But
were doing it.
for
I'm trolling!
Well, yeah, some people were doing it, but
Tried
it wasn't.
doing it.
Yeah, but I think we both agree it wasn't nearly as like well viewed or respected. Like if you look at like who were considered like the high tiers, like you don't see fucking Aeroflame giving no fucking FP thank you. Like that guy was screaming into the
But I think-
microphone about some. If I don't do it, who will? Like
Right, but I feel like if he... Here's the thing with that, though, is, like, I feel like the reason we didn't see it a lot back then is because they just didn't know it. Like, I just think, like, I think if they knew it, then they would, like, do it, like, way more, while also keeping that funny rhetoric, like you just said, like, if no one else will do it, who will, or, like, whatever. So, like... it
Yeah,
started
well-
coming to light when Fubuki started spamming it.
by knowing it, do you mean like knowing how to formalize or knowing that it can be done in a debate?
Like, knowing how to utilize it.
Oh well, I don't think this audience, on average, knows how to do it, like the fiction audience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's my point. I know that.
Yeah, but well, but you said like okay, you're saying back then the reason why it wasn't respected in general is because they didn't know how to do it. But if they don't know how to do it
No, I
now,
didn't say-
it's also not respected now, right?
No, I'm not saying that they didn't respect it. I'm saying the reason why we didn't see it as much is because we didn't know how to do it, or they didn't know how to like utilize it. Maybe they didn't even know like what it was. Like maybe they didn't even know of the concept either. That could also be an explanation.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, of course. The more known a tool is, the more the tool is going to be utilized. Yeah, that's
Well,
just
you
like,
know-
yeah, that's just going to.
It was known back then because Trini was around, and Trini did that shit.
It wasn't, and Trini was considered like one of the high chews back then.
Yeah, but everyone was around Trini, right? They were probably just gonna like take what he was doing.
Okay, so it seems like I've never watched a Trini debate where he's done that, but to be fair, I've only seen Trini versus Parrot. But
The
Paris
debate
was
where
hard,
Paris defines knowledge as the act of knowing things.
yeah.
Amazing.
The act of knowing.
Like, I mean, it seems like it was utilized back then, and it was respected, or it seemed to be respected, because everyone placed Trini really high. So. I don't
Well,
see
I
why
think,
it
well,
wouldn't.
from,
I don't see why it wouldn't be respected. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just seems like if it's not respected, it just seems like it pushes the anti-intellectualism stuff. It's like, I don't know
I
why
mean,
we
people
would
back
wanna do
then,
that.
people back then were anti-intellectual. Were anti-intellectuals. They still are.